Do you need to be religious to become a Buddhist? Well, that depends on what you mean by becoming religious. For many people, becoming religious, the word religion brings the memories of rigid traditions and unquestionable faith and also imposed beliefs, and a set of rules that are made not because they make sense, but because they are coming from an ancient scripture, ancient text. In that approach, Buddhism is different. Buddha did not claim himself to be a god. Buddha never asked for worship from people, and also Buddha never demanded blind faith from people. Instead, he offered a path of self-realization and self-exploration, and a path that everyone must follow by themselves, right? In one of his most famous sutras, Kalama Sutta, Buddha meets a group of people who was confused. That they met a lot of spiritual teachers, and everyone they meet, they claim themselves to know the ultimate truth. And then they ask this question from the Buddha: who should we believe? What spiritual leader and what spiritual teaching should we believe? The Buddha's answer was quite surprising. The Buddha said, do not just reject an idea or believe in an idea just because it is coming from an ancient scripture. And also do not reject an idea or believe an idea just because it is your tradition. And also remember that do not believe and reject an idea just because your teacher said it so. Instead, test it, live it, observe it, and see it for yourself. Is this idea brings happiness to my life? Is this idea bringing happiness to my life and to the others? Is this idea works for well-being and for the benefit of myself and to the others? If it is a yes, then by all means, hold on to that practice, hold on to that idea and do it. But if an idea brings suffering and unhappiness and pain and suffering to your life and to the others, then the Buddha said, let it go. So understand, Buddhism doesn't need blind faith. What Buddhism needs is the confidence to practice it. So you may ask, if Buddhism isn't about blind faith, what is it about? Call it a religion, call it a philosophy, call it spirituality. Labels don't matter. What matters the most is what you practice. If you're practicing love and kindness that is unbound and unconditional for every sentient being in this world, you're practicing the Buddha's path. If you're practicing the mindfulness and awareness to seek the truth within yourself, then you're practicing the Buddha's path. So Buddhism is not about whether you call yourself a Buddhist. It is about whether you are choosing to live your life with wisdom and compassion and kindness and with more clarity, right? Just keep in mind that even the Buddha started this journey not as someone who was enlightened. First, the Buddha was, before becoming the Buddha, he was living in a palace. He was living in a royal life. He lived a luxurious life. He was born to wealth, right? And then he understood that living within these material pleasures, becoming busy with these material pleasures, doesn't help me to seek the truth, doesn't help me to seek the peace that I'm looking for. So what he did was, he renounced his life. And he fell into the other extreme where he practiced the self-denial, right? He tortured his body, he starved his body, and then he understood that even self-denial, this extreme, doesn't help to practice and to find the peace within myself. And then only he found out this middle path, this balanced life, where you do not indulge yourself in the sensual pleasure, and also you do not deny anything. You do not deny yourself, right? So this is the essence of Buddhism, not falling into any kind of extremes, not falling into any kind of extreme beliefs, and it is more about finding what works for you, finding what brings the peace and happiness to yourself and to the others. if Buddhism brings the peace and happiness to your life, you have to practice it. You can practice it. You are free to practice it, right? And also the Buddha said, everyone is open to come and see it for yourself. This is the most important thing in Buddhism. The Buddha says, see it for yourself. Put it into practice and understand. And then you will realize the peace of this practice and the value of this practice. So keep it in your mind. In Buddhism, you don't need to believe anything blindly. You don't need to accept any traditions or dogmas. What you need to do is try to be more kind. Try to practice more kindness and compassion within your heart. And also try to be aware of your thoughts and try to live with intentions rather than being carried away with the habits and emotions, right? So if it works for you, if it helps for you, and if it brings the happiness to your life, then practice it. If it doesn't, let it go, right? So this is the difference in Buddhist practice. So in the end, the question is not whether you call yourself a Buddhist or not whether you call yourself religious. It is about, are you willing to practice? Are you ready to practice, right? And are you ready to see it by yourself? So keep this valuable idea in your mind, and then you'll be able to understand Buddhism more clearly. I wish you all, may you be happy and may you be healthy and may you be able to live in peace in this life. Namo Buddhaya.